It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron. Alongside me is my co-host, the man whose catchphrase is no cap, Marsh. What's going on, man? How you doing?
What up? I didn't think I had a catchphrase, but here we are. How are you doing?
You do now, apparently. I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. It's good to be here with you for another show. Let's go ahead and let's jump right into things, shall we? Of course, we got to start off talking some SWFL action. Franchise tagging has been talking about. We I talked about it the other day with Siege. Um, T. Higgins did end up getting the franchise tag from the Bengals. But there were some other ones that surprised me that are that are unlikely to happen, and ones that are not going to happen at all. Saquon Barkley unlikely to get the tag according to sources, as well as Josh Jacobs, the Raiders running back, and in my opinion, the biggest one, King Henry is going to be hitting free agency. I know I just threw a lot at you there, Marsh, but thoughts on all of these, one of these, however you want to attack it, my friend.
Sure. Well, I hate the franchise tag. I think it's the dumbest thing in professional sports. It's never going to go away because there's too much control for ownership. But I think it is the most restrictive piece of legislation that the league has. It completely eliminates players in their very short, finite primes in the SWFL to actually get the money that they're deserved. I think Kirk Cousins did a phenomenal job of navigating that. He's been the only player that's managed to pull it off, and he plays a
Mm-hmm.
position that, outside of his latest injury, is probably the least injury prone position, and he's able to survive it. So that's the franchise tag part. But cue the we don't get paid enough. Running backs deserve more. We need a running back union. It's coming. It
There
is.
it
If
is.
you don't
Yeah.
think it's coming, man. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. Those are three of the top eight, top five running backs in the NFL or in the SWFL. It does not matter because they're not going to get paid a commensurate value. The reason, because the backups are able to do it, because you
Yep.
get these guys that are getting absolutely destroyed unless you're Christian McCaffrey and you can put him out into a wideout position where you can get him to his 20 touches per game with half of them being receptions. Then a downhill running back like Saquon Barkley, like Josh Jacobs, and especially recently Derrick Henry, it's just not worth the dollars and cents from a team, from a league, to say, let's pour $20 million into this guy. And I'm not saying I disagree with this. This is a guy that played running back, man. I want him to get paid. There's no
Yeah.
value in it. You are immediately losing value the moment that contract is signed by any of these elite running backs, as unfortunate as it is.
Yeah, exactly. The running backs window, the running back position window is one of the shortest in the league because of just how heavy it is, workload wise. Sure you could split carries and all that stuff, but it still doesn't change the fact that the workload overall is extremely, extremely heavy on these guys. Again, you're talking about guys like Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. There's also, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler also come to mind as well. Those two also will be, hitting free agency and that kind of thing too. That there's that it's wild to me that you can have all these players who, you know, let's say 10 years ago, maybe March, they'd be on their teams for a good period of time because those were the
Yeah.
cornerstone guys that you built your offense around. If Derrick Henry's playing 10 years ago, he's going to stay with his team for a long time, as long as he continues to produce anyway. So for me, that's one of the more frustrating things is that these guys are still producing at an elite level, and to say we're not going to pay them, uh, in my opinion, is a bit disrespectful. Sorry, very disrespectful to those guys and the work that they've done for those teams and their offenses. Some of them, without a line to even help them out, they got to do it themselves.
Look, B-Run, you're not wrong that it's unfortunate, that it's borderline disrespectful, but this is business, right? If you are a team, you are trying to find the most valuable move that you can make for the finite dollars and cents that you can have. And the fact of the matter is, in many cases, you can sign a running back for, let's say, $5 million a year, and you can get two-thirds, if not three-quarters of the absolute output that you get for somebody that you're paying $15 million a year. So you're right. These guys are the top of their class. But the problem is that the market dictates it. It's just like in any business, any stock market, anything that involves dollars and cents. If a team can get better value for less dollars, they're going to do it. And we can look around the league. This same problem occurs at other positions. We just
Yeah.
have hyper fixated it on the running back position because it's the most polarizing one. But the fact of the matter is if there's ability by teams to get more value or equal value for less dollars, they're going to do it. And that is going to end up pulling down the top of that class, the ceiling, and the amount of money the elite guys actually make because no team wants to pay Saquon Barkley $20 million. So then why should one team come out and say, we'll do it if the market says everyone else is willing to pay him 12 to 15?
Yeah, and other names notable: DeAndre Swift, AJ Dillon, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Ezekiel Elliott, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are all going to be
I wouldn't
hitting
put Zeke
free
on that
agency
list, but
as
sure.
well. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Which
for
actually,
sure.
real quick, is part of the
Yeah,
reason why you don't pay these guys big money because we see how quickly they deteriorate after Zeke was the top paid running back in the league, and
right.
now he's what he is.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, look from one top to another because Shohei time is right around the corner, man. To today, actually, he is going to be making his spring training debut against the Chicago White Sox. Look, Shohei, it's his first season in LA with the Dodgers, coming off of another MVP season. Signed that huge 10 years, $700 million contract in the offseason. Unicorn of a player, two-way player, can do it both hitting and pitching, which something that isn't seen a whole lot in the SWLB.
Not seen at all.
And
Not a whole lot. It's not seen at all.
yeah, just fair, March, fair. Any expectations for Shohei Ohtani in spring training in this first game we're gonna see because he's gonna be DHing in this first game here. Won't be pitching in this first game, just playing the DH.
No, no, I have no expectation because first off, it's spring training, so
Yeah,
this game means absolutely nothing. Second off, I think we've almost between. I can't pinpoint the reason why. This is still a workshop idea that we're bringing to the table, but between Photoshop and sports video games and all of the Instagram graphics that every single outlet wants to make, we've basically seen Shohei Ohtani in a Dodgers uniform for the last 6 months, right? So me seeing him on a baseball diamond in a Dodgers uniform, what's changing? We know exactly who he is as a baseball player, especially as a
yeah,
hitter. It's what we're probably going to see for him in the near future if he does in fact have to get Tommy John surgery and is unable to pitch in the immediate seasons. But we know what we're getting from this guy. This guy is a phenomenal ball player. He might be the best player of this generation. My expectation is, I don't know, don't suck. I mean, I remember the Carl Crawford experience when he signed with the Red Sox. And I was losing my mind as a young Red Sox fan. Carl Crawford, I thought was the
yeah.
best outfielder in the game at that point from
He
like a
was.
base stealing and defensive standpoint. And he stunk, man. I mean, he hit 220 or something like that. He couldn't get on base. I mean, let's just hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it will, but that's the only expectation I have. But that's not going to come for another month and a half here until the regular season starts because spring training is what 1-2 at bats, call it a day, and get the AAA, AA guys in the lineup.
Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you. I'm not expecting too much. It is spring training after all, like you said. So, he'll get one or two at bats, and then he'll be good. I did say that he's not according to sources he won't be pitching at all this season. He is dealing with that. He had the that elbow
UCL
elbow
injury.
ligament tear. Yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of the word, but yeah, he had the UCL injury that he's dealing with. So when we pitch in this season, which is probably the smart thing to do, in that regard. And eh, coming off of the two unanimous AL MVP awards, uh, he led the American League with 44 home runs, 95 RBIs, 8 triples and 20 stolen bases. And as a pitcher, he was 10-5 with a 3.1 ERA in 23 starts last season. He's also struck out 167 guys and walked 55 guys. So, like, I mean, the guy can put up numbers. No doubt about it. We like you said, Marsh. We know this. We know kind of what to expect performance wise from Shohei. We know that he's a great baseball player, can do it all, and just kind of excited to see how the season goes for the Dodgers, with them kind of putting this team together with two of the best Japanese players we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, this is I mean, this is the tantalizing part of the of any season, particularly the baseball season, because there is a lot more attention drawn, I think, to spring training than the other professional sports preseasons. Because you have this, hey, we're all going to this different state. We've got these different facilities. It's just a lot more unique. So
Yeah.
there's going to be more attention to it. It's the your really good appetizer, or you're maybe waiting at the restaurant and you're scrolling through their menu on Instagram and you're like, "Oh, that looks good. That looks really good." That's what spring training is, and that's what I think this outing is going to be. But if he goes over 2 with a ground out and a pop out, I don't think we're going to sit here and be like, "Well, that was a waste of $700 million."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
give me until, let's say, May, and then we could start talking about expectations and opinions of him.
Yeah, we're not gonna pull a Victor Wembanyama and say, "Oh my goodness, he's struggling to adjust or whatever." He has, and with the Dodgers too, have a chance to do something he never did with the Angels, playing a playoff game
Make the
potentially too.
playoffs.
Yeah,
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 be a relevant
exactly.
franchise in the end of the season. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
fun.
which is wild to me. But look, let's end the show on a good note with a round of more. I know we've been kind of prediction heavy this half, so let's continue that. And it was a prediction, shall we? Because we got some games today. Here's some more prep. We got three broadcasted games for you, and they're all I think going to be of varying degrees of good. Rocky Mountain taking on Queen City at 7 p.m. At 8 p.m. it'll be the rematch between Lone Star and Southeast Select after Dexter Jackson hit that game-winning shot in their last meeting. Also looking to avenge that one, and then at 9 o'clock it'll be APAC taking on the Best Coast Ballers in Sino Champa. Predictions for these three broadcasted games, Marsh?
Well, I mean, I talked about it yesterday on the podcast. Queen City Kings has been, outside of that one hot stretch, they've been kind of disappointing. So, Rocky Mountain, though, I've also talked about them ad nauseum. That's a team that's kind of been disappointing defensively. So, if their defense can show up, I know they had the awesome 107-point game last time they came out. I'm not forgetting that, but I think they still gave up like 70 plus. This is maybe the worst defense in the league. Can they show up? But I'll take Rocky just because the dysfunction from Queen City Kings has been there. And then the other two, I'll go Southeast Select and Best Coast. I don't like picking against Lone Star, but particularly I don't like betting against Arthur Lattimore. But I Southeast Select just kind of seems to be winning games, and Best Coast has been kind of under the radar. Suno Chop has been awesome. That part isn't under the radar. I think they've won 3 straight games. They're back above 500. They're one of those teams that I mentioned yesterday that could rise up in the SimWorld Prep middle class. I think they could be a kind of dangerous team come the race to one. So I'd expect them to get the win against Asia Pacific.
Yeah, you mentioned the Rocky Mountain last game. They gave up 78 in their win against
78. There you go.
78. Yeah, so I'm gonna take Queen City though for the reason that their defense Rocky Mountains hasn't been good for a good chunk of the season. I'm gonna take Queen City in that one.
Yep. Margot Jacobs
And
should cook.
yeah, exactly. Lone Star, Southeast Select. Lone Star bad tasting off, I'm sure, after that last one. But Southeast, they find ways to win. And again, they did it in the last game with Dexter Jackson. Hit that buzzer beater against Lone Star to win that game. So I'll take Southeast again. And then same thing here for Best Coast and APAC. Best Coast, like you said, looking real good, much better than what they have been. Rising the ranks in that middle tier of similar prep. I'm also you can't count out APAC though. Like I think they'll make it a game, but I do think Best Coast will again Suno Choppa and them boys they'll find a way to get that W. And with all that being said, though, everyone, that's going to do it for today. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. As always, we appreciate your time so much. Remember, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notify button. Make sure you know when all of our shows, streams, and games go live for you all. And remember, you guys, SimWorld is the only place where you can do what, Marsh?
See the game, be the game. I'm letting you finish.
Yeah, and we'll see you. We'll see you later on tonight and tomorrow for more SimWorld today.
Well, that was.